I'm guessing you've probably seen the videos online of people making a ton of money renting out cars such as Lamborghinis, Ferraris, McLarens, Corvettes, and so on. Well, in this video, I'm going to be breaking down how you can start an exotic car rental business in 2026. So before I get into this video, you're probably questioning, well, who the hell are you? My name is Etienne Alcesser, and I built a 7-figure car rental business that was generating upwards of $150,000 or more per month every single month. And I built one of the largest exotic car rental companies in all of California. I have also made countless mistakes while growing that business that have cost me over 6 figures. And this video is here to help you avoid those mistakes and get your car rental business going ASAP. Now, before I get into the nitty-gritty of what I do, I think it's really important for you to understand how this business even works in the first place. People think that you need credit or a bunch of startup capital. You go out and buy a Lamborghini, you list it for rent, and all of a sudden you're just making tons of more money for someone that already has a ton of money. That's just simply not how it works with 90% of exotic car rental companies that you see out here today, even the major ones in Miami, Las Vegas, Los Angeles. At its core, most successful exotic car rental companies, including the one that I built up to over 7 figures a year, are not actual car rental companies. They're more like risk management and logistics companies, if we're being real. You don't need to own the cars. Manage vehicles for vehicle owners. You make money by renting the cars to qualified leads, doing the right processes, doing everything from A to Z, and I'll explain more about how that works in this video. And then you do a split on the revenue with the owner. You're making the vehicle owner passive income, and it is your job to create the right systems to do everything from lead generation to insurance verification to damage claims, rental agreements, check-in, check-out processes, and so forth. Think of this business model as something similar to an Airbnb, but for cars. Now, you might say that, well, that already exists. There's a platform called Turo. There is a platform called Turo, and you can actually utilize that platform, but that's not how you're going to make a lot of money, especially when it comes to exotic cars. Exotic cars really don't perform well at all on Turo. You'll barely see any return on investment, especially for a vehicle owner. So where does the money actually come from when it comes to exotic car rentals? Well, the money comes from the price that you're charging clients, how that factors into your operational costs, and how you handle your risk management in regards to insurance, and when it comes to things like damages and how you handle those situations. That will either bring you to make a lot of money really fast, or you can crash and burn. There are a lot of risk involved that you might not see from these exotic car plugs on Instagram. It is really easy to get the cars, and it can be fairly easy to rent them out. But the caveat here is that you have to find the right clientele, because you can work really hard for months and months, and one mistake can set you back all the way. Essentially, it's about risk management. What kind of leads are you renting to? How are you verifying the client's insurance to make sure that you, the vehicle owner, and your business are covered at all times? How do you document the rentals? Are you using the right processes during the rentals to really hone in on that risk management part of your business? And that leads us to, how's your business structured, and is it actually protected legally? The thing I'm saying here also is legal advice. I am not a lawyer and I am not a tax professional, so please seek your own advice. No matter what market you're operating in or what markets you're studying, you're going to see a lot of exotic car rental companies. They pop up fast and they crash fast. The reasons they pop up fast and do so well in the beginning is because they focus on the money, they focus on the flex of actually having the cars on the Instagram, and the ideology of running that exotic car rental business and being the exotic car plug. What these businesses ignore is vetting processes for their clients, insurance checks, and doing things like taking deposits, doing it the correct way, and verifying the identity of their clients, as well as having proper procedures in place when things do happen and go wrong. Now that you understand how this business works at a high level, I'm going to break it down for you in phases so that you can actually apply these skills to build your own exotic car rental company in 2026. Phase 1 is how to structure your business. Now, if you don't know what that means your legal structure. You as a person, you can go and you can get someone's vehicle and you can rent it out on their behalf. But if you don't create a structure or an entity, then the law, courts, they're going to view you, the person, as the business. You can't just slap a business name on something and call it a business. You have to actually create a legal entity like an LLC or a limited liability company is what it stands for. There's also other entities that you can form, such as S corporations, C corporations, and some more complex business structures. But we're not going to cover that in this video, as it really does not pertain to someone just starting out for an exotic car rental company. So to create an LLC, you're going to go to your Secretary of State website, in whatever state you're in, and you're going to search up LLC formation. You pick a business name. A lot of times you can go on the Secretary of State website and do a name search. So come up with a few names that you like and go into that name search and make sure that that name is not already taken for the LLC that you wish to have. Once you find a name that's available to you, go ahead and go on that Secretary of State website and follow the procedures to create an LLC. What does an LLC actually do for you? The LLC will break you and your business separate. So if there's any like lawsuits or anything of that nature, they're going to go after the business and not your personal assets. If you intermingle your personal life, your personal finances, you're running rentals through your personal bank account, and there happens to be a lawsuit or some sort of, liability that you essentially have to face, they're going to say, well, this liability is being run through this person's personal bank account. And so there really is no difference between the person and the business, right? So that LLC is going to create a separate entity, which we have right here, and then you're the person in the business. You're going to want to make sure you have some sort of structure like that that separates you. This is also going to be very important for business funding and anything really that has to do with anything within the business. So you're going to want to make sure that you create that LLC. Once you have that LLC, you're going to have to open up a business bank account. How do you do that? Well, before you even open up a business bank account, you're going to have to get what's called an EIN, which is an employer identification number. This is a number given to you by the IRS, which acts basically as a social security number for your business. And this is something that's necessary to create a business bank account. Why do you need to create a business bank account? Your business bank account is going to be separate from your person. So it's going to attach to your business. That way, any finances or anything having to do with your business is always run through that LLC bank account. How do you do this? You go on the IRS website, you request an EIN. This is a pro tip. If you pick an LLC name and it's similar to any LLC that's been created before in the United States, and you try to request an EIN online, you may get rejected. You can call the IRS, there's a number on there, and they're going to tell you to print this form and fill it out, and you're going to have to fill it out and send it in by mail. There can be many duplicate names with separate EINs, but the system on the IRS website is not going to recognize that. So if your request for your EIN gets rejected on the IRS website, don't panic, just follow the instructions. Print the form, mail it in. It's super easy. I actually faxed mine in when I did that, and it was no problem at all. You get your EIN. Once you get that EIN, you take it to a business bank, essentially any bank that offers business checking accounts, and you use that EIN and your LLC certificate to open up a business bank account. Now we have the foundation of your business. So any business dealings moving forward, you're going to do under this LLC name. So any contracts that you do for vehicle owners, you're going to do under your LLC. Any rental agreements are going to be under your LLC. Literally everything from finances to the way you speak about your business. When you text someone, hey, come rent from me, you're going to say, hey, come from rent from my business name. They're two separate entities now. Now you're officially a business owner. Now we're going to get into phase 2 of the process. Phase 2 is going to be, do you finance your vehicles or do you get vehicles on consignment, which vehicles that you don't own and manage for somebody else? Well, when I grew my exotic car rental company, at one point in time, I had over 60 vehicles in the fleet, 30 or so of them being exotic vehicles. I did dive into some economy cars, and I'll get into that in another video as well. I'll tell you 90% of the vehicles were not mine. They were owned by other people. Why is this business model attractive? Well, you don't need credit. You don't need a down payment. It leaves you with no monthly payment. It leaves you with no maintenance payments, and it leaves you with no insurance payments. All you have to do is find qualified leads for your renters, do the process correctly, rent the cars out to them, and you get a profit split. So if you rent out a Lamborghini Huracan for $1,100 a day, you just made $550 per day. And all you had to do was find the client, put them under contract, and rent out the car to them. Sounds that easy, but it's not. Another option is financing vehicles. Why would you go out and finance one of these vehicles? Well, Maybe you're already doing well financially, and these are cars that you also want to just drive around. Maybe you need this as a tax write-off. This business is very beneficial, and this is a great pitch to investors, aka getting vehicles on consignment, is that this has great tax benefits. You can write off, and again, I'm not a tax professional, you can write off one of these vehicles 100%. So there's a tax code out there, tax code 179, that if you buy something that's a 6,000 pound gross weight vehicle, maybe you've heard about this, you can depreciate it 100%. Well, there's an exclusion to that, and that's usually luxury or exotic vehicles, and most of these vehicles don't weigh 6,000 pounds. You can bypass that if these vehicles' purpose is only to rent them out. So if you or someone you know needs a tax benefit, that may be a reason that you want to go and finance a vehicle. Maybe you have the capital to do so, and you know what you're doing with buying and selling vehicles, and you're finding cars at a great price that you can purchase, rent out, and then resell for maybe the same or a higher price while also having collected money during those rentals. So those are all things to take into consideration. But what I'm going to show you is how to get these vehicles under contract. That way you can scale fast. You really don't have to worry about building all this crazy credit or putting all this money on the line. You just have to worry about getting the rentals and handling them correctly. How does it work with consignment vehicles? You find owners of vehicles or find people willing to inject capital into a business idea. You get them to purchase a vehicle. I wouldn't instruct them on how to do it, but I do like to give pointers. Maybe they purchase it in a business so they mitigate their liability, or they can put it in their personal name. That's their preference. They go and buy out a vehicle. Maybe they already have a vehicle. You have a bulletproof contract, which I have and I've used for many years. It's a cancel anytime contract. It breaks down your responsibilities. It breaks down the owner's responsibilities. So your responsibilities include sourcing leads, optimizing them across all different listings online, searching for renters, qualifying the renters, making sure that they're legit, verifying insurance, handling the rental agreement, doing drop-offs and pickups or checking them in and out of your location, doing pre and post-trip inspections, doing mileage logs, things like that. And if there are any damages or anything goes wrong during the rental, it's also your responsibility to handle that in an operational but not a financial sense necessarily. Those are your obligations. What are the owner's obligations? Well, they need to obviously keep the vehicle's payments up to date. They need to keep all insurance and legal requirements up to date. They're also required to send you things like if there's tickets in the mail or there's a violation on the vehicle during a rental, they have to send you that information so that you can resolve it with your renter in a timely manner. You have this contract. Typically how I've done it is I make sure that the vehicle stays with me at all times. I have a copy of the key, the owner has a copy of the key, and if they would ever like to drive it when it's not rented, then we can coordinate that and make sure that it fits within the calendar. And this is all part of a bigger strategy, but I'm trying to keep this video short. An easy way to get started is calling existing exotic car rental companies in your area and listing those vehicles on your website if they approve. So you would simply call them up, say, hey, I have an exotic car rental company. I would like to list your vehicles. Can you shoot me over a wholesale price list? And basically how that works is they will give you a discounted price. So if a Lamborghini Huracan rents for $1,100 a day, they'll give it to you for $800 a day. Now you can charge anywhere from $1,100 to $1,400 a day, and you collect the difference. Some brokers might be hesitant about letting you handle the insurance and the contract on those vehicles, and that's okay when you're starting out. You can just let them handle that information. Just make sure you're the one that keeps in communication with the client. Do not pass off that communication. Just be involved in the process. And then also make sure that you're there in person, checking those people in and out of the vehicles. That way you can build a relationship with these customers and keep them coming back to you. This is also very important for recruiting more vehicles in the future. A lot of your renters are going to be qualified people to invest in your business. So that is something that you definitely want to keep in mind. Also, if you're really enjoying this video and you would like to learn how to build your own exotic car rental company, I'll leave a link in the description where you can apply to work one-on-one with me. So you can learn how I went from being just a regular guy, dropping out of college and serving tables, to generating over $150,000 per month, every single month, with vehicles I really didn't own. Now we're going to enter into phase 3 of creating your own exotic car rental company. This is probably the most important part of your business and is going to be the backbone of your systems and your operations. This is going to be renter verifications, vetting your renters, insurance checks, and security deposits. What do we mean by renter verification? You want to verify that a renter is actually who they say they are. What you're going to do When a renter calls a prospect that wants to rent your vehicle, you're going to collect their driver's license, their proof of insurance. That proof of insurance, you're going to want liability coverage, property damage coverage, comprehensive and collision coverage. Usually when you have all those factors together in a policy is what they deem a full coverage policy. Full coverage policy is actually not a real thing. It's just ensuring that that policy has all of those terms included. Now, there are different ways to vet your renter. You're going to want to make sure that the driver's license is accurate. There are systems online where you can input these driver's licenses to make sure they're up to date. You're going to want to make sure that their information matches on their insurance. So what you're going to do is you're going to call their insurance provider. You're going to have the renter's driver's license, which is going to give you their driver's license number, obviously their legal name and birth date. You most likely already have the renter's phone number. This is something you're going to want on hand when talking to the insurance provider. And you're going to have the policy number on the proof of insurance. Typically, I would like to ask for what's called an insurance binder. That way you can see the breakdown of very specific things within their policy. This is both a vetting process and an insurance verification process. But if the driver's license addresses and name match up to those on the insurance and the driver's license information match, that means you have a verified renter and someone that can validly rent your vehicle. Now, there are other steps that you can do to really secure and make sure that these people are who they say they are, and other disqualification steps in case they are not. But that's something that I'm not going to go over in this video, and I'll break this down in another segment. You're going to want to have a rental agreement in place. That rental agreement is going to make sure that you have all the identifying information of the renter, so their name, phone number, their insurance company, policy number, all on there, as well as all of the information on the vehicle. So you're going to want your VIN on the vehicle, the description of the vehicle, year, make, and model, and the license plate number, things like that. It's also going to contain things such as how much are you charging for your security deposit, how much are you charging for your rental rate, your over mileage, basically anything that can be disputed. So what can be disputed? Damage claims, over mileage charges, refuel charges, or really unforeseen circumstances. So you're going to want to make sure that all these terms are lined out within your rental agreement, and that the renter obviously agrees to the rental agreement and signs it with a signature. You're also going to want to take security deposits. Security deposits are a huge thing. It can deter a lot of bad renters, and it's also going to secure you if there are damage claims that may be minor damage claims where you can just use the deposit to fix them, if there's over mileage charges, or if there's a more major accident and you have to pay part of the deductible. You can use that deposit now to fulfill those needs. Deposits are also a great way to verify that a renter is who they say they are. A lot of the times, if you tell someone they need a major credit card deposit, they will, if they're sketchy, they will decline. Some of these people say, well, can I do the deposit in cash? Yada, yada, yada. For me, those are red flags and I decline those renters. Just make sure that you ask for a credit card deposit on a major credit card. It's really going to secure you. And there are other things that you can throw in the mix again to make sure you're going one step above and beyond to verify these renters, because essentially you're not just protecting your company, you're also protecting the vehicle and the vehicle owner. The final step to actually starting your exotic car rental company, I know there's a lot of after the facts, and I just can't jam everything into this video. So this is literally just the foundation on how to start. Someone finally found you, maybe it's through your website or Instagram or family or friends, and they want to rent from you. What do you do? Well, you've already got their identifying information, you've verified their insurance, you've got the rental agreement signed, you processed payment, you took security deposit. Now they're going to come meet you in person, or you drop it off to them. Those are things that you have to coordinate. Do you charge a drop-off fee? I don't know. That's up to you. And what happens next? You got to have a check-in and a checkout process. You don't want to just say, hand them the keys. Here's the car. Have fun, right? When you're dealing with a lot of these exotic cars, you're going to want to have white glove service. You're going to want a real personal touch with these people, even if they're people that you know or people that you don't know. You want to make sure that they understand how the cars work. A lot of them are very low. They have front end lift systems. There's manual modes and traction control. And these are all things that you're going to want to learn about the vehicle and pass that information forward to the renters. There's also a process. So you're going to want a very thorough before video of the vehicle and photos. I'm telling you, even if it's friends and family, make sure you do this. You're going to want pretty much every part of every vehicle that goes on a rental, you're going to want documentation for. that if there's any damage disputes, you have prior videos to that. Rims, roof, sunroof, interior, headliners, literally everything. Just, it should take you no more than 5 minutes. I usually do a high definition video of some sort, and I go very slowly, and I will do a walk around of the car. You're also going to want a photo of the dash to record the mileage and the fuel level. Those are all part of the process when you're checking out a client. Now, when a vehicle comes back, you're going to want to do the exact same steps. Take a video, take a dash photo, and that way you can have everything on record. You say, well, why can't I just do a walk around and make sure that the vehicle's good to go? I've had instances where it takes 3 or 4 rentals to catch something more on the minor side, and you have to do a comparison between each check-in and check-out video of all the clients in between. So that way, when you contact your renter from 2 weeks ago and say, hey, I just noticed this damage, they're going to say, well, I'm sure there's been several people in the car. The car's been sitting on your lot. Well, actually, I have a timestamp video of when your rental started and when it returned. And we can clearly see that the damage was caused during that rental. You're going to want to make sure that your check-in and your checkout process are totally bulletproof. Another thing you're going to want to do is when your renter, especially if you've never met them, when they pull up, you're going to want to make sure that they have their driver's license and stuff in hand. That way you can verify that stuff in person. Basically, this is a short summary of how to start your exotic car rental business. If you followed the 4 phases, you should be able to create your business, start getting those rental agreements, those owner agreements, start getting all those things in process, so that way you can find leads, put them under the correct contracts, and rent out the vehicles, and then make your money. Also make the vehicle owners money, right? So this was a short summary, but I do hope that you found this video helpful. If you did, and you would like to start your own exotic car rental company, or maybe you're already an operator and you're looking to scale faster and with the right systems, check out the link in the description. You can apply to work one-on-one with me directly. Now, I'm only accepting a small number of students at a time because I do work with them one-on-one in my mentorship program. So that really limits my time and my ability to work with people. Other than that, I really want to thank you for watching. If you like this kind of content, please subscribe to my channel, like this video, and comment with any questions or feedback. I'll see you in the next video.